This is a meeting of the Consolidated Commission on Utilities. For the record, those present are myself, Commissioner Chalco, Commissioner Sanchez, Commissioner Santos, and Commissioner Martinez. The first order of business is approval of minutes for January 12th and October 24th. The Chair would entertain a motion to approve. Mr. Chairman. Okay.
Second.
Second, subject to the convention. Any further discussion? None? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carries. We have public comments?
Yes,
Who
we do.
do we have first?
We have Mr. Stan Wilson for
Yeah.
Gpwa and Gwa.
Okay.
And Mr. John Kim for Gpwa.
Okay. So we'll start with Mr. Wilson. You wanted to say a few words?
I'm already hearing it.
Okay, we can start with you. We're in the public comment portion, Stan.
Okay.
So you can
Come here.
get up and you can
That mic.
come sit over there if you want.
So we can.
I have a lot more to say than it's gonna take 2 minutes, so.
Well, Stan, can you condense it? Miguel, let Stan sit.
Oh, he's gonna
okay.
do a couple.
Here,
I'm
right
sorry.
here. You can sit right here. No, no.
No.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
New generators for the wells. Those were put in 30 years ago, and they either no longer exist or they don't work. My generator at home is older, by the way, it works just fine. But one comment is, you're talking about buying 104 generators for either 11.4 or 9.5 million dollars. Anybody do the math like I did? That's either $91,000 or $109,000 each. How big are these generators? I went online and looked at retail prices of brand name US made generators. The most expensive one I could find was 40 kW and it was under $25,000.
These are in megs, right? Ours are megawatts, right? Not kilowatts.
Marlboro Cave. I've talked to 25 people that have built homes on Guam. Nobody gets plans, signs a contract with the contractor, and goes home and stays home until the contractor calls them and says, "Oh, you can move in tomorrow." Excuse me, everybody I ever know went to visit the house, if not daily, at least once a week during the construction period. Nobody from GPA ever took a trip up to Marlboro Cave area? What? I haven't spoken to a single person that doesn't know what a ponding basin is. Nobody from GPA ever looked? Unbelievable. The new generator that you're building for whatever amount of money, number one, it's not legal because you have a contract to buy power from it for 25 years after it starts operating. And that is several years past the law, Guam law, that says you have to be 100% renewable. I understand the law's stupid, and I understand it's not possible, but change the law before you sign the contract. Don't do like you did with that other little generator thing up near Jose Rios. Force the legislature to do what you have to do. Why don't you do things in advance? I mean, doesn't anybody think ahead? Load shedding again? You got to be kidding me. I think the board members ought to represent the people that voted for them rather than the management of the board. And it appears that you don't. I haven't spoken to anybody that's happy with GPA or GWA. I had a water outage after the storm. I hate to say this, but I used to be the chairman of the Waterworks Board when it was part of Guam. I believe, if I'm not correct, that I was the one that bought those generators. I think it was GPA that was supposed to maintain them. Is that not correct? Who was supposed to maintain those generators? GPA or GWA? Nobody ever did their job and maintained them, or at least reported that they're broken or missing or whatever. That's why we have a water outage after a typhoon. Yes, it's been 13 years or whatever it is, but we get to typhoons maybe tomorrow. And now we're going to start a process to buy new generators that'll take you a year to get through the bidding process and another year maybe or so. That's 2 years away probably, the way government works. Anyhow, I'm disgusted, and everybody I've talked to is disgusted with GWA and GPA. Not the guys that go out last week and put a new drop on my house. Those three guys worked their butt off. You know, they were hardworking, conscientious, and knowledgeable, knowing what they're doing. The problem's not with your line workers. The problem's with the management, either the very top or the next couple of layers down. Nobody holds anybody responsible or accountable. Shame on you. Is that it? Yep. Nobody has questions? Yep. Of course not.
Try and give you a response. Okay. The other person is Mr. Your name, please? Kim. Mr. Kim?
Hi, good evening. Hi, I'm a resident from Dededo. I have home in Jigo. I requested for a refund regarding my water line extension. It's being denied, so I'm here. So I want more clarification, and I don't know when I'm supposed to address this concern. That's it.
What have you done so far to?
I got a response from engineering, but that response is not acceptable, and I don't agree. And clearly, it's really different from what is written on rules and regulation.
Okay. So did you contact the general manager's office?
No, I didn't,
Okay, so
because I don't know anyone else besides. Yeah.
I'm just asking a question.
Okay.
So therefore, what we'll do is we'll have staff and get your number. The general manager will give you a call to arrange a meeting so that he can further discuss your issue. This is an operational issue. He needs to take care of it.
Okay.
So we'll get your contact information, and then the general manager or somebody in his office, and we'll bring you in so you can sit down with him and his people and work through this.
But I think the general manager is aware of this situation.
Yeah, I know,
But
this is
it's not for me to say it here. Is that what you're saying?
yeah, this is not the proper forum.
I understand.
Because that's an operational issue.
I understand.
We're going to talk about policy issues here.
Okay.
Okay, so that's what I'm saying. We'll get your number, yeah, make a call, make arrangements for you to come in, and try to see where you are and what they can do and what they
Okay.
can't do. And then they'll explain it to you. And either you'll be happy or you'll be mad, but you'll get an answer.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, that's fair enough.
Okay. Thank you. So, Pam, can you please give her your contact information? Okay. Okay. Is there anybody else? You listen?
No, that is it, sir.
Okay, there's nobody else for public comment. The first order of business, new business this is a briefing that we all had wanted to do on cybersecurity. We continue to upgrade our systems, and so I informed the two general managers and their staff, the key people from GPA and GWA. And I believe you have a presentation, right, Miguel and Manny?
Yes. Yes,
Okay.
sir.
So the floor is yours. We can stop you when we have questions.
Yes.
Yes, we never approved it because they never finished. We had a change of secretaries, so somebody had to go in there. So they've been going through it to make sure they got it right. Okay.
Do you want to sit there?
Okay, who's doing this presentation? It's you and
Me and Manny, sir.
you and Manny? Okay. So
We'll get the slides.
I didn't have any, nobody gave me.
Oh. Where's the slides? Sorry.
They weren't
Oh,
voted?
I counted there was one first.
Okay.
Sorry, I didn't realize I needed to bring that.
Oh, okay.
They need to split it up. Can you do that?
Apologize.
Sorry.
Is it in board books though?
Yes, it is.
Okay. So it's just the going out to the YouTube. That's the problem you have? Can't you get board books up there?
It's gonna be too slow. There's gonna be a lag because it's not made for projection.
Okay.
No, well, it was the last meeting, so I'll go back, but I'm just trying to figure out. Well, first, it's not a bid, that's the price. Oh, that's right, it was at the work session. Yeah. $9 million plus contingency, okay. And size here. These are Ks, okay. So these are Ks, right? Ks. Yeah, a couple. But those are the bigger ones. But those are a few. But even those ones, yeah, and I guess they look hard. This was the lowest. Well, this is his budget. Even better. That's a good account.
Okay. There you go.
Sorry about that, Commissioners.
Melvin, go ahead.
Okay. So today's presentation, GPWA cybersecurity update. This was put together by Manny and myself, right? GPA and GWA. Yeah. So just FYI, in the last 2 years, the cybersecurity landscape has shifted considerably. We had the pandemic, which brought across an increase in digitization of services and new processes. This, of course, has increased the potential for expanded security issues. We have our increased geopolitical agendas raising ongoing concerns with electronic warfare and cybersecurity. Of course, the Ukraine war, right? Ramped up cybersecurity activity from nation-state actors. Of course, everybody knows what's going on, leading to targeted attacks on Guam. Growing demand for cyber and IT professionals, leading to a shortage of skill sets and staffing. Ever-changing technology requirements, especially now, and of course, supply chain issues and delays in procuring new technology. All right, next. I'm sure everybody's heard about Volt Typhoon, right? And this was mentioned specifically Guam. This came out in New York Times in May 24, 2023. Chinese malware hit systems on Guam, and this is related to Guam's strategic location, DoD presence. If you guys know, we had a couple incidents where there was targeted attacks on Guam, a local ISP, telecom company, plus another GovGuam agency. Because of that, and ironically, we actually had the FBI assessment team here for both GPA and GWA, and they were actually here when this news broke out. So, and of course, this is just the tip of the iceberg, right? Next. Yeah. Just to let you know, GPA and GWA has been ongoing cybersecurity network assessments. We had our Department of Homeland Security, Cybersecurity Infrastructure Security Agency, CISA. They were here in February 2023 doing the risk and vulnerability assessment. The FBI Network and Vulnerability Assessment Team was here in May 2023 for both GPA and GWA. And the Coast Guard Cybersecurity Protection Team was here for GWA in 2022, August, and they were here for September 2023 for GPA. During that time, they've put numerous network sensors on both our networks, GPA and GWA, and the sensors are still here, and they're going to be here for an indefinite amount of time. Okay. We have another network and host assessment scheduled forthcoming. I'm looking at first quarter of 2024. So we have been the focus of multiple federal agencies to make sure that we are trying to be secure and that we don't have any intrusions by nation-state actors. Okay, next slide, please. Yeah. Another thing driving additional cybersecurity concerns is digitization of services. In the past 2 years, because of pandemic, we've actually done more conversion of physical manual processes to automated solutions. Energy Sense rebate applications, before you would have to come in, turn in an application by hand. Now you can go online. Actually, that's the only way to do it, is to go online, submit the forms, and everything gets processed electronically from now on, even the approval process and the notification process. All right. Prior to implementation, no applications were processed within 20 days. A new KPI is 50% of applications are processed within 30 days. Yeah, okay. Yep, sorry, yep. Media provisioning and exchange process using mobile workforce. If you guys notice, we actually have a lot of vehicles with 2 antennas coming out, which gives the vehicles mobile connectivity. We're using that to connect to tablets to make meter changeouts faster in the field, okay? Online energy audit application rollout in April and May 2024. Distribution troubleshooting and planning using smart grid big data applications, and exploring AI for grid controller. All this automation also exposes us to more cybersecurity concerns because this is using technology in a different way. Okay, next page. Yeah. Some of the challenges for GPWA, technology upkeep, keeping up with the ever-changing technology landscape, evaluating and implementing new technology that is constantly improving has proven to be challenging. Ensuring that such technology can coexist with GPA and GWA's IT environment and future-proofing such technologies are complex. Increased acquisition costs and maintenance of such technologies are driving up the price of implementing new technologies. Many times when we're purchasing new technologies, by the time we get them through the procurement process, implementation process, something new comes up. A better way, end-of-life equipment, and it always causes us challenges and concerns. Yeah. Next page. Another challenge for us is end-of-life equipment. End-of-life equipment is equipment which is no longer being supported by the vendor. It doesn't have spare parts, doesn't have readily available backups. GPA and GWA is working on addressing end-of-life equipment. For GPA and GWA, this covers replacement aging equipment estimated to be over $1.2 and $1.4 million respectively. Okay. GPA and GWA is currently working with federal partners to assist in funding for the replacement of such equipment. Okay. Another issue we have is supply chain issues. Issues with availability of equipment and delivery. Specialized equipment purchases have an estimated delivery time of over 6 to 10 months because of the pandemic and because of the shortage of production. And also enforcing cybersecurity requirements from vendors adds additional costs and also limits vendor participation in the procurement process. Another major challenge, development of skill sets, workforce retention. There's a high need for training and certification of IT personnel for cybersecurity, networking, and communication. Because of the military buildup, there is actually a high demand for IT personnel at the moment, cybersecurity personnel. As mentioned before, and you guys probably all know, private sector, public sector is having a hard time recruiting qualified technical people at the moment. Within the last 2 years, GP and GWA have lost a total of 5 qualified staff, very good staff, if I can say so myself, to either DOD, NAVFAC, or DOD contractors.
Is that because of salaries?
I'm going to say majority because of salary, yes, sir. Yeah, yeah.
How big a
And
differential?
benefits.
How big a differential?
Commissioner Santos, do you have a follow-up question?
Okay. Let's be honest with ourselves,
Right.
maybe that's the first time that I've heard that, I've heard it outside, but you yourself have never come to say, we need to do something about this. I hear it from the engineering side.
Right.
But not once have I ever heard that our IT is being cannibalized by our competitors.
Okay, okay.
So what is it that we need to do for you?
They're going over to different positions. There is a salary bump. It's not incredibly high, but there's also additional benefits, as you guys know. People going to work for DOD, even NAVFAC, get those base privileges, and of course they get the guaranteed COLA every single year. And so those are one of the benefits that they get. Yeah.
Again, I think it's incumbent on you to tell us.
Yes, yes, sir.
We have an issue that we can't maintain our staff. We gotta try.
Yeah. Right, yes, sir.
I'm not hearing that we're trying. I mean, I was really disappointed when I heard the two of you sit up in front of the public and say, we're not getting any help. And I was just about flabbergasted. I go, are you kidding me?
Was this
You're
at
getting
the,
help from us? The part that, I'm gonna start pointing fingers.
Yeah.
I never heard John Kim come and say to me, or just say, hey, I need to beef up the staff. I'm hearing it from somebody in Hawaii who goes, you better do something about your cybersecurity because they're gonna steal everybody from you guys.
right, right.
I mean, that's why I've been bugging Chairman Duenas. You need to put these guys up in front of us to explain this to us.
Understood.
Now,
But explain to me, Melvin, why is it that you couldn't come to either John B. or Miguel and say, we really need help? Why did you go to the public to say that?
This is in reference to the legislature, or, sorry, yeah.
Went down in front of the cybersecurity front. I said, well, I'm not sure, we don't have funding for this. I said, buddy, not once did I hear in GWA or GPA, we need more money for this.
Right.
In your budget call. I did the budget for you guys. There was not a call for equipment, there was not a call for staff, there was not a call for salary bump.
Right.
We will support you guys, Melvin.
Understood, sir.
Our largest threat is our grid.
Right.
And I'm just, I was the one that was bugging this, and I hear from Commissioner Taco, it's falling on deaf ears now. Oh my God,
Right.
really? And I'm not sure that, is this the right place to do this now? Or we're losing personnel? I mean, let me ask you, what are we doing right now in here to protect our staff to make sure they're not running over to NAFTA?
So, just FYI, a lot of people that are poaching, not poaching our staff, but
Bullshit, come on.
but GPA is a great training ground because we have all the cutting edge technology right now. In fact, a lot of our technologies, compared to some other DoD agencies, some federal government agencies are actually higher end. So what are we doing? We're offering more training. We're working with HR. We got in development, and I'll show you additional staff positions. We're working on reclassing additional staff for their responsibilities. Yes. Yeah.
But how can we make sure, what do we need to do, Melvin, to make
Yeah.
sure they stay?
That's
I'm not sure if it's salary.
Yeah.
We definitely can't do base privileges and
Right.
COLA. I mean, we gotta get a little bit more creative.
Yep, that's an ongoing issue, and the thing we recognize is there's always going to be seasoned staff looking for an endpoint, which is just more money. So we actually are developing also apprentices programs. We're trying to develop with HR a cybersecurity long-term apprentices program. We do have one for 3 months, and we've actually hired 2 of them on board already. So if we develop them when they're young, when they're developing their skills, then we have them for the long term. Compared to those who are seasoned already, who've been working with private industries and government agencies all over, they're only in game. I'm sorry, not to say that they're only in game, but most of the time, they're leaving because of money. But if we develop someone from within, long-term wise, then at least we can keep them for a longer term. Yeah, so that's what we're trying to do, yes. Yeah, we can never compete against the military or private sector, because if someone really wants that person with the skill sets, certifications, and we have good members down there, the NOC team, Network Operations, they have certifications up to yin yang. And trust me, they're very valuable, okay? But they're here with us because they've been here for a long term, compared to some of the people that we lost who have only been here for 3 or 4 years. And once again, you know, no criticism to them, but maybe they're looking for the higher salary range, yeah. So that's what we're doing, yes.
So I think, Melvin, as a follow-up to Commissioner
Yeah.
Santos's concern, you and Manny both need to be talking to your general managers and making sure that they understand your concerns.
Yes, sir.
Okay? And then it's up to them. And if they're the ones that let us down, then that's a different question we'll have to talk about. But, you know, you really do need to present, especially like for the budget call.
Right.
You need to put in, now, you don't, I know both GPA and GWA, you're constantly replacing equipment,
Right,
but you don't replace everything in 1 year, right?
right,
You know, so you have a program where you're replacing, I don't know, desktops. I'm not a technology guy, but you're replacing equipment, and then as you go through, you go back and start replacing again.
right.
So those are the things you need to make sure that your general managers understand, so that they can put it in their budget and they can make sure that it has the priority that we need, okay?
Right, understood.
Okay,
Yeah.
go on.
Okay, yes, sir.
To address the rules of the staff augmentation.
Yeah, I got it in there too.
John, let him talk.
So another thing, once again, we can't hire everybody. So what we're looking also is staff augmentation support and address current shortfalls. We did that last fiscal year, and we're doing it again this year. Okay. As mentioned, GPA has a cybersecurity internship for 3 months. We've done that the last round, and we picked up 2 people, very good qualified people. Finished Guam UOG cybersecurity program. One of them passed their Security Plus certification, which is great. Okay, we're looking at development of long-term internships for cybersecurity and network technicians for the GPWA workforce. We've actually also worked with GCC to bring on board internships as part of their computer science degree. And we're working with HR to address the pay gaps for the technical related positions. Yeah. So, yeah, next please. And recruitment development positions. In 2021, the CCU approved the IT integration plan, and part of the plan required additional positions. Cybersecurity manager, cybersecurity administrator, incident response analyst, compliance analyst, infrastructure support supervisor, programmer analyst supervisor, OT integration supervisor, et cetera, et cetera. The ones in red are the ones being developed now. So we're not waiting for the end game. We're working on those position descriptions now to draw those skill sets in. Yes. Okay. All right. Next page. GPA future goals, once again, based on the GPWA IT integration plan, converge infrastructure, move towards a shared internet edge utilizing next generation firewalls, share network infrastructure, configure GPA SSID on headquarters wireless infrastructure, expand GPA SolarWinds, Orion installation, complete island-wide fiber ring project. The island-wide fiber ring project is actually a big one for us. We currently have 84 miles of fiber in the ground right now, and we're developing more and more fiber just to make sure that we have connectivity on island. As you guys know, we've already experienced a loss of communications during the last storm. In fact, we were actually able to assist one of the local telecoms with connectivity back to the office just because we had our own underground fiber. Okay. And complete build out of a disaster recovery site for both GPWA. Okay.
Where's that at now?
Right now, it's in-house. We had a temporary location with Docomo at their.
Docomo?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. But now it's in-house,
It's
sir.
gonna be sold,
Yes, sir.
so you better get that going, Melvin.
Yes, sir. It is a priority for us. Yes, we realize that. Yeah. Yeah, consider. Yeah.
So where do we plan to put our
So
site?
the GM has the new TND building coming up, and we've actually designed out a separate building next to it for a DR site. to also include a secondary site for PSCC operations in case this building goes down. Yes. Yeah. Okay. GPA and GWA was part of those detailed build-outs already. Yeah. Okay. Converge policies. Once again, Converge IT infrastructure between GPA and GWA will offer savings, synergies, and shared resources. So that also goes to development of governance policies, documentations, Converge OT applications. OT applications in this case include SCADA, and also the GIS system, all right? And then of course, shared business applications, implement customer care and billing, management centralized administration, customer service web applications development, support, and maintenance. GP and GDB has separate applications for customer maintenance, support, but once again, our customers are both a GP and GDB customer, so it only makes sense to have them combined as one. Right? And shared ERP environment with JD Edwards. Yeah. Next page. Yeah. Shared IT services, shared services ticketing and change management systems. Once again, a shared disaster recovery site capabilities and a remote data center, and a shared services email solution for GPA and GWA. Consolidate to a shared virtual environment, implement asset and inventory management tools, and merge customer record databases. Yeah. Yeah.
Is Guam asking us to participate in anything?
Yes, on the cybersecurity side, they asked us. They actually have a cybersecurity working group. They're asking us to help participate in that working group. So far, we sat in a couple other sessions, both GPA and GWA. We listened in, but they're still developing certain policies, procedures. As you know, they just got their cybersecurity plan approved by CISA, which is Homeland Security. But GPA and GWA have their cybersecurity plan, whereas GPA had our plan approved by Department of Energy with the smart grid implementation back in 2013, sir. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So.
Now, just a real quick question to follow up on Commissioner Santos's comment. You're helping them in terms of imparting knowledge, trying to help them build their system, but there's no connectivity between us and them, right?
No, there is no connectivity between us and them. No,
We're
sir.
totally separate from the government of Guam.
We are completely separate,
Okay.
and the reason why is because we, being a utility for both GP and GWA, we have a lot of operational technology that we need to protect, whereas the objectives of Office of Technology has different objectives for their data. Yeah. Okay. So.
Okay.
The ring that we're developing around the island is exclusive to us?
Exclusive to us, sir. Yes, sir.
Now, wait a minute, Commissioner Santos has a very good question, because this fiber that you're putting around the island is in conduit, right?
Yes, sir.
And
Yeah.
but there is room in there for other fiber that doesn't get connected to ours, but you can allow other fiber in there?
Right. So we have a fiber swap project ongoing, sir.
Okay.
And the reason why is it's not just to give away fiber, but with 31 substations, we need fiber connectivity to those substations because we're putting so much automation in there. Right now at the 31 substations, we have 9 substations which are on GP-owned fiber, and the remainder is on GTA or ISP connected devices. Okay, and the problem with the last storm, as you know, they lost connectivity. And so if you lose connectivity to those substations, then PSCC is blind. And so that's why we need our own fiber. During the storm, our own fiber was working. Any ISPs that we use, both GTN and Docomo, were down. And so we actually lost visibility.
So Melvin,
Yes, sir.
you and Manny, that's a priority
Yes, sir.
for you folks to complete that fiber loop,
Yes, sir.
okay?
Yeah.
And you know, just as long as you follow the cybersecurity in terms of sharing the conduit,
Yes.
but not sharing anything else,
Right.
okay?
Right. Yeah.
Unless any commissioner has a question on that, no? Okay,
Yeah. So John Cruz and I, we've been working on with other ISPs for the fiber swap and GovGuam also. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
So-
but
But are we getting any money for that, John? Are they gonna help us with some of this cost? What? Is the infrastructure money available for us?
Yes. Is the infrastructure money available for us?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
All of it?
There's 156 million.
Right.
I've been helping them along and providing some technical
Guidance?
and background, and it's in their court now. But there's up to $156 million paid.
Okay.
They can't do it without us. We better get some.
So how do we gain from that? Can they help us pay for the ring?
Yes. Yes.
Well, it allows us, right now, with the fiber swap ongoing, everyone with Citadel, which is IPV. They will connect the fiber conduits that are actually GWAs that are between Plaza Gardens and Agate Santa Rita wastewater treatment plant. They're going to connect those into the northern ring and into the southern ring with the telephone substation. With the telephone substation. But we've informed them through the RFI responses that we provided the broadband infrastructure team that we would like to have another ring coming down from the eastern side of the island, down and connecting and creating an entire island ring.
Good.
So we've been posturing ourselves by all the large power plant projects and renewable energy and energy storage projects. They have to provide fiber from their substation to the substation that they're interconnecting with. So a lot of this network has been built either through federal funding, right, or through those types of large projects.
Okay, go ahead, Melvin.
Any other questions?
No.
Okay. Next slide. Sorry. On the public slide, you don't see it, but on your handouts, that is a future state of the GPWA IT organization.
Mr. Chairman?
Yeah.
So,
Yes, sir.
maybe councils could help us a little bit. I'm concerned that it's not on the slide.
Yes, sir.
But it's on a handout.
Yes, sir.
So and we're in an open session, that handout is public record. If there's a concern that there are some things you wish not to share publicly, first
It
off,
should be
council,
removed.
but you can't remove it from the screen and pass it out on the table. My understanding is that's part of our, so councils would, not putting it on the screen so the public can't see it right now, okay, but handing it to us, couldn't someone FOIA this handout? How do you protect this handout from being shown to the public? If for security reasons we don't want to show this to the public.
So under the FOIA statute, we are able to limit disclosure for security. So if there are security risks at issue or security details that would expose the utilities to
It's
some
not
harm,
it's not
it's
FOIAble.
not FOIAble. We can limit disclosure, and it's not available to the
but-
public.
Okay, let me
and
ask you a
I'm sure
different
that's
question.
fine.
Okay, so it's not FOIAble, but in open session, every document handed to the commission, isn't that, other than litigation, isn't that public record?
So any document falls under the FOIA statute. There isn't an exception because we're in a regular board meeting and this is an open session. It's a
Okay,
document,
as long as you're comfortable.
disclosure can be limited.
Because my alternative was simply to have management brief two commissioners, no more than two commissioners at a time, so that it is completely secure. If there's something that you don't want to be FOIAble. But I guess what you're sharing with us, not on TV, but on a piece of paper here, and you're not concerned that this would be available to me, it's available to the council. Is what this piece of paper that we're being handed out, is that available to the public?
If it's not on the slide, it's not being disclosed to the public, no.
Even though it's
And-
being handed to us physically?
That's right.
Okay.
So we did have a discussion with IT before this meeting, so IT is aware, and, they exercise their discretion to determine what information would pose a risk if it was disclosed to the public, so.
Okay, so we're okay?
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Just want to make sure.
Okay, do you, Melvin, how much more do you have to go? Are you almost done?
Last slide, sir, that's it.
Okay.
Yeah. So on the handouts was just basically the IT GPWA organization future state, and some of the positions and how many positions will be created based on that to address the new technology. Yeah, and that's it, sir. Any questions?
Just real clear, on this last page.
Yes, sir.
The positions that are being mentioned are to a team, or is this one for each agency?
That's to a team, cybersecurity only. Yeah, because this topic was basically cybersecurity, so I just wanted to focus on that,
In other words, just for clarity,
just for clarity.
there,
Yes.
there is one team for cybersecurity, IT, for both GPA and GWA.
Yes, sir.
Okay, you're working together.
Yes, sir.
We want to make sure that's clear on the record.
Yep.
Okay.
And I just want to mention that the GM's been very supportive of the process. Yeah. So
Well, Melvin?
Yes,
That's
sir.
a double-edged sword. You need to make sure that they understand your needs.
yes, sir.
Now, and in fairness to the GMs, maybe you didn't make yourself very clear, so you need to make sure you're very clear on what you need, okay? Because that's a priority, and I think they understand that, okay?
Okay.
Hey, going back to the
Yes, sir.
internship slash, what can we do to develop our own training programs? I'm not, Melvin, forget about the rest of Guam. They're
Okay.
way behind us.
Right.
Okay, we have to survive on our own. Okay,
So,
talk to me, and we'll talk to our friends out on the other side of the world, saying that want to bring the training here, and do not wait for Guam.
Right.
By the time we're done.
Yeah, it's a good point, sir, and that's why we even had the Department of Energy training.
Yeah.
We brought in the cyber trainer. I apologize, I forgot his name, but the presenter, the trainer, he was actually part of the Ukraine incident response team. Remember when Russia took out Ukraine? He was actually part of that team. He had firsthand knowledge. He was on site to see what happened. And we brought that training to Guam, not just for the GPA staff, which we had involved, PSCC, including IT, but for other government agencies. So we do realize that. But yep, we need to develop more training.
but you
yeah.
specific, I think Commissioner Santos' concern is specifically to GPA and GWA. You need to do more training.
Yes,
That's
sir.
where the focus has to be.
Right.
It's nice to share,
Yeah.
but, you
What
know.
is GCC trying to do for us? What
GCC.
does that collaboration look like?
Well, before the pandemic, we actually were in constant contact with GCC. We were taking their interns, which required an internship to complete their computer science degree. But after the pandemic, I think things had changed with the situation. So right now, I know that they're trying to they've turned up a cybersecurity program. And UOG also had a cybersecurity program. For UOG, I actually participated in teaching two semesters of cybersecurity program, so they are developing that. Yeah.
Okay.
I think there should be more collaboration to develop more skill sets, because what's going to happen is once the military starts getting more and more involved, you're going to lose more people, both the private sector and also the government sector. Office of Technology right now has how many staff? I think 11 staff. Yeah. And there's only one cybersecurity person to manage all their coverage. And Office of Technology covers everything from Rev and Tax, Department of Administration, Department of Education, hospital. Yeah,
Okay.
exactly, sir.
Okay, so, wrapping this up,
Yes, sir.
thank you very much for the presentation.
Thank you,
Yes.
Melvin.
Thank you, Melvin, and
And
we
Manny.
need to keep doing
Yeah.
more. You know, we like what you said, but you need to complete the projects. You need to
Yes.
complete that loop, you need to do everything that you need to do,
Yes, sir.
okay?
Understood.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Yes.
What Melvin hasn't said that we're also working with some national lab partners on cybersecurity.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. And? Okay. Commissioners, Commissioner Sanchez, you wanted to make a request to like our attorneys? Did you want to do that now or at the end of the meeting? Because I also
Whatever
want,
you feel is appropriate,
maybe
Mr.
before we get rolling into the resolutions, you want to do that? Because I also want to bring up one issue.
Okay,
So go
so, colleagues, I was thinking through that would we be comfortable and would it be appropriate for us to just ask our legal counsel? That there's been a representation by one attorney that we're inorganic, and I was wondering whether we wanted our own counsels to write their own opinions.
Stan,
Stan?
Sally, can you take that outside, please? Do you mind if you do outside? Can we, we're in a session, Stan. Thank you.
Okay.
And whether the body, the colleagues, the body would like to have our own attorneys write an opinion on our organicity, which is one
Okay.
attorney's elected.
Sure.
So I wanted to throw that out to the body.
Sure, I think Teresa and Marianne, that's something that I think the commissioners are all concerned about. So we need you to start looking at our
Organicity and write a legal opinion.
Yeah.
Either,
Yeah.
it can be two different ones, it could be one collaborative, we leave it up to you. In case they don't agree, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I mean, we're not gonna tell you what to opine.
Yeah.
But, so we can welcome one or two, but if you could work on
So-
at least one, if not two opinions. Try not to have three opinions.
Okay, so, and then the only other thing I wanted to bring up, and it was something that Mr. Wilson did bring up. John B., there's a question about people who have rooftop solar and are getting a credit, and they're getting a credit of $100, but their bill every month is $15 because they never, there's solar back in, solar back out. Their bill is always just for customer service. So that $100 credit is accumulating, and therefore the $100 is accumulating, and that really is not GPA's money. That money was given to the customer as a subsidy to the customer. So John, you need to work with your legal counsel and as well as your customer service people to see if that qualifies as an overpayment, and therefore that customer does he have the right to, I think he has the right to request a refund, but you have to go through your service rules and regulations and your customer core people, okay? It's just, and I think it's an unintended consequence, nobody thought about when they passed the law. They just said, give a $100 credit to everybody. And, their bill usually.
To each ratepayer account.
Yeah, to each ratepayer account. So, and, people have, a lot of these rooftop solars, I'm talking specifically about the ones who actually paid and put their own rooftop on. They usually get a bill of $15 a month. So $100 is coming in, minus the 50, if they don't pay the $15, they get to use that as the credit. But whatever credit is in there really belongs to them, not to GPA. But double check it with your legal counsel and work on it with your finance people and your customer service and how you get that money to them, okay?
And advise us of your findings.
And advise us
and
of
what you
your findings.
decided.
As advise us your findings first, okay? Okay. Okay, so go ahead, Marianne, one more time.
I was just going to say, I am looking into that.
Turn
We
the
are
mic on.
looking
Is the
into
mic on?
that. I think the law provides for a different result, so
Okay.
we'll come to
Okay.
a conclusion
Okay.
on that.
Good enough. Thank you. Okay, now we'll go to who's up first? GW?
I'd like to suggest that it please the board, since GWA has an executive session item, I'm happy to defer to Mr. Beneventi to go first on the agenda,
Okay.
if that's okay.
No problem.
It has nothing to do with his age
Or his beauty.
or his beauty. Okay, well, very good.
Thank you, GM.
Well, then those are two good,
Okay,
those are two
so-
good reasons.
So, John, your first resolution?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Resolution number 03 FY 2024, and this is related to approving additional funding for the I'm sorry.
No.
Resolution FY 2024-05
Yours.
request to increase the contract expenditure for the supply of diesel oil. Number 2 for the GWA diesel generators.
Okay.
You're good, we don't need
Again,
Make it really big font, Commissioner.
this is a 5-year contract that is going through the second year at this point, but already we understand through Typhoon Mawar that the cost is already exceeding my authority, and this is to request your approval
Does this
for
require,
this one.
does this require approval from the PUC? No, not at this time.
It is heading to 3.2, so yes, I think it
Okay.
requires
So
approval.
motion
Motion to approve resolution FY 2012 number 05.
Second.
Second, any further discussion?
Commissioner
further discussion?
Matiaco asked for some information, I believe, and it's just there, the total gallons it's updated, total gallons that were used for my wash, no?
Okay.
And again, this is like a projected, so
Okay.
whatever, it's
In
just
the
that
resolution. Okay.
what
Is that
we
in the
only,
resolution?
you know, we only use what we need if they have to be run.
Page 465, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, I see.
Any further
Thank
questions?
you, thank you.
There's motion on the floor, duly seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carries with 5 votes. Next one, John.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This is related to approving the purchase of WSD generators. Again, we're initiating the replacement of generators. Most of these generators are over 30 years old. Some of them are still, most of them are still operating. However, it's getting more and more difficult to find parts for them. In addition to that, they have been running for so many years. So again, it's important that we do have the water system and backed up, not only with eventually some underground lines, but also with the standby generator system. So we've put together money costing about 11.4 million for about 104 generators, 94 of stationary ones and 10 portable ones. The sizes, of course, vary from 30 kilowatt up to 1.4 megawatts. No, so it's consisting of again 94 pieces. I do want to make a correction on line 20 of the resolution.
What page?
Page 1, Mr. Chair.
Page 468.
Okay.
And it should be 30 kilowatts, should be 22 each, no? Instead of 23. And then again, the 11.4 million coming from our revenue funds. But I think it would be a good investment for us to begin this process. We were trying to do this before the COVID occurred. We had a plan to do so many per year. But I think, and again, we did put this in for mitigation funds with FEMA and everybody. So if they did approve it, then we can actually use that. But we want to start the process because it takes, takes some time and trying to get these generators in. And we did go out for RFI to get an idea what are available and prices are available and so on. So that's why it's really the estimate is 9.5 million, but I'm asking for a 20% contingency so that we don't have to turn around, in case the prices did rise due to inflation or supply chain issues.
Okay. Commissioner Santos.
Motion to approve resolution FY 2024 number 06.
Second, by Commissioner Sanchez. Commissioner Sanchez, you had a question.
So John, this request is a budgetary request, right? You still go out to bid, you'll go out to bid and the price is what the price is, right? From the bids. But your estimate of the 9 million, ignoring the contingency, because the contingency takes it to 11, right? The 20%. But your original budgeted estimate of 9 million is, how did we come up with that? Is that based on historic prices, purchasing?
Combination, we did go out to fuel the public, the vendors.
Few of the potential vendors?
And
Okay.
then we also use from past experience.
From similar generators of these sizes that GPA has purchased in the past, plus an outreach to potential bidders, so you could establish a budget. And based on that research, you are requesting to approve a budget that could reach 9.5 million plus a contingency, but then you issue the bid and we'll see what they come in.
That's
Okay.
correct.
All
And then I'll come back again to the CCU and BUC for approval. at that
So there was
time.
a basis for the $9.5 million
Yes, there is.
estimate,
Yes,
but
there
it's
is.
an estimate subject to actual bid.
Right.
Okay.
But
Thank
if I come through, if I come through and about 7 million or whatever, and it end up to be 9 or 10 million, I have to come back through the whole process for everybody,
So you think this is the max, this is the outer end?
I think
That's
so.
why it's a budget, right? That's your hope, right? Based on your experience from purchasing similar sized generators before, right? And an outreach to vendors who could bid on it, and based on the specs you gave them, they gave you a estimate. It's not their bid, but they gave you an estimate you put it all together, the budget you're requesting is a budget of 9.5 million with a 20%
Yeah,
contingent.
right. The team estimated the 9.5, then I put the 20%.
Okay, okay, okay. Thank you.
Commissioner Baca?
And John, are these just generators, or do they include day tanks? Do they include ATSs? Do they include anything else that you required in the
I think
procurement?
it comes with the ATS and stuff and the.
So it includes an
daytimes.
automatic transfer switch,
Yeah.
not just a generator?
Yeah.
And it includes a
then,
day tank. How many hours is a day tank?
Most of them are just the day tank, but most of our tank areas have the big ones. There's certain areas that we are gonna go out under a separate bid or to cover
Okay.
more tanks and all that, because the key here is that we put too many stuff into the, even we need exhaust here or things to be done. Put too many stuff into the pie bid, we risk losing.
Okay.
So even the bid process, we're gonna try that we can award a different, not all or none type of scenario, so we can maximize at least the same brand for the same size.
Yeah.
But there
typically
are other things that we're gonna do, which we can either do ourselves or come out, including not bladders, but we wanna put in more day tanks like we have done.
But the day tanks are typically what, like 24 to 48 hours? type-
Yeah, we're looking. I think we need a day tank of about 7 to 10 days of supply. No?
Oh, that's different than a day tank. That's
Yeah,
that's a
no,
larger
but it has the
capacity.
ability day
separate
tank,
tank.
but we have tanks for 7 to 10 days supply. Because,
In addition to,
yeah, because the storm 3 to 4 or 5 days before it passes by, and then by the time you get out there and the damages, no.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then the 10 that require trailers, those have to have different types of tanks, right? They have to have double wall tanks because they're trailerized, they're moving. So it's not just a generator that you're going out for procurement.
No,
Okay.
it's a set of things.
It definitely needs a track.
Yeah, different.
Yes.
Okay. No other
Okay,
questions.
any further questions? No further questions? All those in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, nay. Motion carries unanimous, 5 votes.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The next one is again every year. We have to file with the PUC by December 15 the LEAC projection for the period February 1st through July 31st. In consideration, we don't have a meeting usually in December. We normally get your approval in November. And so putting all the projections in, to really fully recover, Mr. Kim estimates we're looking at about 35 million under recovery by January 31st of next year. But again, to try and recover 35 million all in one time, because again, we have the financial capability, the working capital to again mitigate this and alleviate the impact. As we have done in the past, we're requesting that we do a 50% recovery and hopefully fuel prices head down. So that's why we're asking you for your approval for 50% recovery to move the price from 23 cents to 26.4327 cents per kilowatt hour for the period February 1st, 2024 through July 31st, 2024. In addition to that, as always, the PUC has the last decision on this, and all the information are updated by before the end of January. So if oil prices drop down, of course, that could change this. If it goes up, well, I think we're still trying to hold it at the 26 cents. No?
Commissioner Sanchez?
Yeah, so at the current rate, which we reduced in June, right, the projected under recovery on January 31st is still 35 million? Okay. So had we charged full recovery, then the LEAC would have been much higher for the past year, just as it was during COVID when we didn't pass on $47 million of under recovery. We took 3 years to recover the 47 million, but even now, as oil prices have risen back, the under recovery that we're experiencing is projected to go back up to $35 million. With this LEAC adjustment, we'll knock it down, projected to 20 million. But then next August, we may have to deal with the fact that it's still under recovery. But the way I'm looking at it is, we're under recovered as of February 1 by 35 million. We may spread that out over the next 12 months. Actually from now, 15 months, because you're not going to fully recover all of it by next August. If there's an under recovery, we're going to spread that out to the next year. So this is an example of how to help the ratepayers and keep the LEAC lower. We use our working capital, which we built because we're a very strong company financially. We've protected the ratepayers' money. We're investment grade, and we have the resources to help the ratepayer get through difficult oil prices. You know, in many ways, our working capital is like another hedge against higher oil prices, because it allows us to delay the payment of the actual fuel price that we're paying today and spread that out over time. And in some cases, it can be as much as 3 years recently. And with the current LEAC, it could be as much as another year before we get all the money back from ratepayers. So there's an example where we spread out the recovery of fuel expenses, which is why the whole concept of the levelized energy adjustment clause, the LEAC, is to levelize payments over a 6-month period or longer, so that ratepayers aren't seeing this up and down that they see at the gas station, right? And so we sometimes it goes up, sometimes it goes down. We buy the fuel. I think at the last meeting you said our last tanker cost $35 million. Yeah, so we're spending $35 million every 30, 40 days to buy the fuel, and this is the ultra-low sulfur diesel, the most expensive fuel that around at this point, right? And so I just want to make sure that we understand as the commission and put it on the record for the public that, you know, we are using the financial strength of the Guam Power Authority to spread the LEAC out. We just did it for 3 years, and now we're going to do it in effect for another year plus, so that hopefully by 2025, depending on oil, we might fully recover what currently is still a $35 million under recovery. And when you look at it at the macro level, that COVID was in March of 2020. If we don't get the under recovery back to zero by January 31st of 2025, that's going to be 5 years in which we spread out the LEAC, right, to keep it as low as possible for our ratepayers. And the only reason we can do that is because GPA is financially strong enough, has enough cash flow and reserves to help our ratepayers with the higher cost of oil and the higher cost of our fuel to provide the energy that they need. Is that an accurate description of our scenario? Okay, thank you, Mr.
And John, just to reiterate, what will this do to the average ratepayer's bill on a monthly basis?
Yes, that will increase the total bill.
6%? 10? Oh, 10.
What the kilowatt, how many kilowatt hours?
With the average consumed day is 1,000 kilowatt.
So roughly $33.18 per monthly bill. Well, that's the net increase that we're going to be seeing from the LEAC.
Yes.
And 10% on the total bill for the average residential customer, all right? For commercial accounts, it's going to be more like 12 to 15%, something like that? Commercial and larger users?
Of course, it should be about the same.
Should be about the same, okay. All right, because it usually, from what I know of our rate structure, the commercial folks, like a laundry, pays a little bit more than the average the resident, right? Because there's a little bit of a cross subsidy in the rate design where commercial rates are subsidizing. There's a number of rates that are subsidizing the residential rate.
It depends what schedule you're in. If you're in Schedule P, you have a bracket which is lower rates. Like if you
go above a certain consumption, then it jumps up, right?
Yes. So if you're in the lower bracket, then you get.
But in the cost of service study, the last one we did, my recollection was that when you take it at a macro level, larger users, larger consumers, those that are larger than a typical residential customer, are paying a slightly more higher than their cost of service than residential customers are.
Yeah, that is correct.
That's accurate, right? So that's what I mean. There's a little bit of a cross subsidy from commercial or larger accounts to residential accounts. And of our 50,000 accounts, 40,000 of them are residential. Yes. So we really try to help the residential account the most as we manage through the changes in oil prices and manage the LEAC. And then we send it to the PUC for their review and concurrence, and as John B. pointed out, you'll keep sending them information, even if we approve this tonight, or when we approve this tonight, we'll forward this to the PUC, and they get another shot at it to see whether prices stabilize or go down, where then this could be lower. And we'll just have to see what the world does with oil over the next 60 days.
Yes. Okay. I just have one final comment before we get to the vote. Somebody make a motion. I just want to reiterate one thing. Our largest customer, the Department of Defense, they don't get a break in their LEAC. They pay the actual LEAC cost.
Yes, we bill them every week for the fuel price, and they pay us. And their LEAC rate is way higher than we're currently
It's
at.
the actual cost
Yes.
for fuel. The only subsidy here goes to the non-DOD.
Correct. The
customers.
DOD is subsidizing non-DOD customers,
Well, you can look at it that way, but.
right? Because they're paying the true, they're
paying the true
paying
LEAC.
well, they're not getting levelized.
There's no
They're like
levelized
the
for-
gas stations. They go up and down with the cost of our fuel.
Yes, that is
Then
correct.
so we pass on the cost differentials for fuel to the military as it happens.
Yes.
We don't average it out over 6 months, and we don't do under recovery.
No, we don't.
So the non-military customers, because of our financial strength, we can spread out the impacts of oil over 3-4 years if we have to, and we're again doing it again. But for the U.S. military, they pay the actual cost of our fuel
In real
at the
time.
time we provide
real
them
time.
energy.
That's
And I'm glad the chairman brought it up, because
We need the public to know this.
the public needs to know that, because some people claim that the military doesn't pay the LEAC, and that's wrong. That is incorrect. Right?
Okay.
That's fake news. So don't believe it.
Okay. Now, there's no motion on the floor yet to approve this.
Yeah, that'll work.
There's no motion, right?
There's no motion.
There's no motion.
okay. Sorry,
So
what's
somebody
the-
needs to make a motion.
Okay, move to approve Resolution 24-08, relative to authorizing GPA management to petition the PUC for an adjustment in the LEAC for the period February 1, 2024 through July 31, 2024.
Second by Commissioner Santos. Any further discussion? None? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carries with 5 aye votes.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Last resolution is FY 2024-09, and again, this is for the janitor services. We have a contract that's been going on for 3 years, and I'm asking for the extension of the 2 option years. I'm here before you because adding the option years exceeds my authority of $1 million, and so it adds up to about 1.25. So I'm requesting approval. I recommend that we go ahead and extend the services as it is today. We don't see a benefit of going out at this point.
Commissioner Santos?
Resolution motion to approve resolution FY 22-09.
Second.
Second. Any further discussion? None? All
Looking
those in
second rate.
favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay.
The
Motion
load
carries with
shedding.
5 aye votes.
Load shedding at the end.
Okay, now, thank you very much, Mr. Benavente.
Uh,
Do you have,
There is just one thing I can do quickly that the GM, the Commissioner Limpialco asked the last time, which is the numbers, what are the percentages of load shedding?
Yep. Oh, yes, please.
Yes.
Yes.
So we did work very hard to put it together, and here it is. And so it's just going to take me 5 minutes.
Sure.
First of all, again, our capacity shortfall, November, so today, updated. Again, here's the peak demands up to November 16.
That's what
The highest peak demand, as I've been mentioning, our demand now, we're in the highest period,
yeah.
and it's starting to go down to January and February, and I'll show you again those numbers a little later. Next. Yeah, again, here I've plotted the daily peak demand, and I plotted the daily kilowatt hours sent out by the power plants into the system. So as you can see, this is for October, August, September, October, November. As you can see, the demand was going up, and so and so. So again, this starts to answer. We're short in capacity in the highest demand period. No? Next. 1 base load down and 2 base load down. As we can see, the peak time is really our issue. It'd be nice if we had the batteries that we had tried to work on. This would have shaved the peak. We have been, or other generators, but right now, that's why we're short. Everyone, and even the solar, the 2,500 solar, in the evening come on right on the peak, and so that's what we have to take care of. Next. So here are the numbers. As of September, the total percent of unserved energy. Every day we serve everyone as much as we can. When we load shed, we estimate how much that unserved energy is. And when you add and you put it together, the amount of unserved energy for September is 0.59%. No? The amount of October is 0.25%. And again for November, 0.70%. Why did November go up? Because the demand was actually higher in November. And as you can see here, October, November, the demand was creeping up, the average demand, hotter, 224, 233. Then look at December, starts to decrease. January 218, 221, stays down. Till March, starts to climb up until May. Now you see why I'm trying to get things done by May, you know, because that's when if we don't accomplish the getting temporary power, other things, then we're gonna have issues by May. But now I think we're starting to roll out of this. So that's the percentage, about 0.5% for the 3 months that we've been having load shedding. November is higher because we had 2 days when we had 2.5 base loads down, and the demand was quite high. Although there was only 8 days of load shedding versus 20 in September, 12 in October, and 8 in November. So again, I provide this for your information as how we're trying to get out on this scenario, and it's gonna get better as we move along here. No guarantees, but we're doing our best to try and get this capacity out. I did go to the legislature, testified Bill 201. Senator Parkinson is trying to get it into this session. I'm not sure that it's successful. There's another bill, Bill 36-37, which supposedly will help us. I'm not sure that that's going to immediately help us. It's going to, I think it's shorting the, I would say, in my opinion, the bureaucracy to do it, but it doesn't immediately help us. So I've asked them to help us on temporary power, because if PUC approves it next week, we're going to issue the bid in December, and we're going to award something in January. If no protest, great. Then I can get it on the line within 100 days before May. No? Okay. And stuff.
And this is for the, we've already authorized you to buy 40 megs, right?
That's correct.
And you're repairing Gigo CT for 25 megs, so that's 65 megs, right? And I remember from your report, it total up to around 80 megawatts of being put back on the grid between now and May. That's your goal, right? That's right. One is to procure 40 megs, one is to fix the protest that is hurting us from putting Gigo CT back online that was damaged by Marwar, not by failed maintenance, Marwar, right? That's 25 megs, so that's 65, and then there's a smaller capacity that you're returning to the system?
That we're trying to, but again, it's similar to the diesel units. Your protest happens along the way. Mm-hmm. So, but the one key here is really the Gigo PMC. We have 3 bidders that we have the bid downstairs ready to open, and they're qualified, and I can't open it. I love our legal counsels. They're doing a great job. They're going to the OPA now, and they're trying to get it through. We're trying to get through another avenue, but we're not getting help from some areas that could help us. No. Okay. So again. But we're asking. So at the end of the day, when they don't help, what can I say? I'm constrained with what I can do. We're going to have to find something else, no? Yeah. But, the laws of today does not work for us. And we're transparent. We're not afraid about our decisions have been very sound, but the process takes too long. No?
Okay. Commissioner Lynn Chapo, you had a question.
Yeah, so John, just so that I'm reading this correctly, in September, the average hours per feeder in September was out 5.9 hours, and the days of load shedding were 20 days. So on average, I would divide those hours by the number of days, and the average ratepayer had a 17-minute outage per day.
No, actually, you take the the number. This is the number that a feeder goes out. It could be the same feeder for 3 times, another feeder for 10 times. But the total feeder outage on total 349. No.
Yeah, I'm looking at the average hours per feeder. Is that the average hours per feeder load shedded column?
Where are you at?
At the 5.9 average hours per feeder.
The next, the fourth,
Okay.
fifth column.
So you divide the total hours for each of this feeder. They were out for so many minutes.
Right.
For every outage, so you add all the minutes that total the hours, no? Okay. Divided by the total number of feeders, which in this case is 49 feeders, no?
Right.
That are impaired. So that's how you get the 5.9 hours for the month.
But if I wanted to break it down to the number of hours or percentage of hours per day, the days load shedded on the right column is 20,
Yeah.
right?
So here, if the number of days, the percent of the time is 20 divided by 30, no? 11 divided by 31 for the month, no? If you're that we have load shed, but the impact on that day could vary for one feeder to another. Some days is only 1 hour, and like in November, there's 2 days when we had a significant outage where one unit was down, then the cameras came down, that made it 2 units, and then MEC came down for a few hours, made it 3 units, and that's when all of these numbers drove up in November.
Let me ask the question a different way, right? So on my feeder in Tamuning, in September, is it accurate to say that I experienced 5.9 hours in September of load shedding?
You could be more or less.
On average.
Because this is an average, right?
On average, okay.
So, yeah.
So over that 20-day period, right, each day averaged 17 minutes of load shedding.
On the 20-day period, each day.
For my feeder, right? Because that's what those numbers seem to portray.
Yep. You average.
360 minutes.
So each
over
feeder
20 days.
each feeder represents a customer, if you will.
Some were longer, some were shorter, but on average, 17 minutes. So I think that's one of the things we need to do a better job communicating, is because yes, load shedding is a problem. We all know that. We don't want to do it, but really, how inconvenience has a particular feeder or group of people on that feeder of, what was their average minutes per load shed. And based on that data, in September, it's 17.7 minutes. In November, per day.
Right.
Per day, over 20 days, right? But in November, it was a lot higher, right? In November, it was 6.1 hours on average per feeder, divided by 8 days.
Yeah.
So that load shed was more significant in November, right? But I just want to make sure that we communicate to the public, okay, yes, this is a problem, but in reality, this is a number of minutes, less than an hour that you've been inconvenienced. Not that it's good, because it's not good, but it's not the end of the world. And what we're doing to fix it, to get it to 0.
Yeah. And then, John, I just want to make sure, that's the average minutes per day, 17 minutes. Am I reading the column on the right, that in the 91 days of September through November, there was load shedding of a circuit on 39 days? Is that the way to read that far right column?
In 39 days, all of the total.
Out of 90,
right? Yeah,
September, October, November is about 90 days,
Yeah.
right? So
We
there was
load
39
shed,
days,
we
a circuit was load shed.
Yeah, at least one circuit.
Was load
At least
shed.
one
right?
circuit.
But that means on 61 days of the last 3 months, no circuit was load shed. Is
That's
that the
correct.
right way to read that?
That's great.
Okay, so the load shedding, that's as fortunate and as horrible as we feel, not only did it average only 17 minutes a day of lost, the inability of GPA to meet the average demand for a customer was 17 minutes a day, and in the 90-day period where load shedding became problematic, there was 39 days of load shedding, and there was 51 days in which there was no load shedding. Am I doing that right?
That's correct. Just the 17 minutes, again,
On average.
is on the average, no? So,
17 minutes a day out of 24 hours of power. Everyone wants 24 hours of power. We want to give them 24 hours of power. On average, based from the real analysis, on average, out of 24 hours, the average citizen in the last 90 days was load shed 17 minutes out of 24 hours on average, and there was 60 out of 90 days, 59 out of 90 days, in which nobody was load shed. Is that correct?
Let's do that. That was just, I was just talking about September, but let's just do the 14.4, right? So the cumulative number there is 14.4 hours per feeder on average, divided by 39 days, right? So let's
Well,
just
per
put
month though, right? Those are monthly averages, so you're gonna divide by 30.
No, it's the cumulative. It's on the bottom, 14
Over 90 days, okay.
over 39 days.
You're,
Load shedding.
I'm sorry, is the 39 days no load shedding or 39 days? I'm sorry, 39 days is with load shedding. You're correct.
that's good.
So 22 minutes over the last 3 months.
So the average citizen lost 22 minutes of power over the last 90 days due to load shedding.
That's correct. That's how I read this numbers, and if whoever put the table together can chime in on
So
whether
I
that's
think
accurate.
We wanna
the
make sure we
way,
understand
the
it.
way I explain it really is the 6.1 hours for the month of November is the average feeder outputs. So if you're a feeder, if you're in that feeder, you experience 6 hours for the whole month. Yeah, for the whole month. Yeah,
Across all feeders, right?
yeah.
And
So
we have how many
again, if
feeders?
I-
30? 30? How many?
Some feeder may be a little more than 6 and some a little less than
Right,
6.
but on average-
on the average 6. So
And how many feeders do we have?
we have about 60 feeders, 63 feeders.
JP, just to confirm, is that when there was load shedding or for the whole month?
This is load shedding.
When there were load shedding?
Yeah.
So then you wouldn't divide it by the 30 days in the month, you divide it by the number of days that you were load shedded, right?
Which is 90 days?
Which is the column on the right.
Yeah, that's
Which
what
is
I was
still
doing.
22 minutes.
Yeah, so it still averages out to 22 minutes, but is it accurate? So on average, for this 90-day period, 22 minutes a day of energy was not served to the average feeder.
Average feeder.
And to the residents on, and consumers on that feeder. 22 minutes a day, on average, right? And then in the last 90 days, is that last column, am I reading it right? Correct me if I'm not, that there were 39 days in which there was load shedding, and there was 52 days in which there were no load shedding.
That's correct.
Okay.
So in one day,
So
4 feeders may go out, and for that one day, it only went out for 1 hour, the 4 feeders. No? But that's a load shedding day.
But there were 52 days in which load shedding didn't occur. Like right now, we haven't load shed in 3 or 4 days, right?
We haven't load shed since the day before Thanksgiving.
Okay.
Cabras 2 has been staying on the line, and we're hoping
And then before Thanksgiving, we had a period where there was like a 10-day period in which we weren't load shedding, right?
No, we were load shedding before that.
So there's a lot of days in which no circuit is load shed.
And the reason why we ended up load shedding that period is because we had to do maintenance. Contrary, we're not running the machines to death, no?
Yeah.
We have to do the maintenance, otherwise it will, pass out on us, no?
But you didn't have the capacity to make up for the down maintenance, right? That's the
correct.
problem, right?
That's why I need the reserves. I have to get this up, so if I had enough reserve, I can schedule it around low period and get it done without anybody feeling anything, no?
And the
But,
80 megs you're procuring, that we've already procured,
that will give us the
that
reserve.
replaces the 80 megs we lost from Cabras 3 and 4. So part of the things we have to better explain to our ratepayers is we had reserves. When Cabras 3 and 4 left due to the industrial accident, we lost 80 megawatts of reserve. Had it stayed online, had it not exploded, right, there would have been no load shedding because we would have had an extra 80 megs. We've been having to live with a loss of 80 megawatts of reserve since the explosion in 2015. Okay, so we've been living with 80 megawatts of lost reserve for 8 years, and it wasn't until September of this year that load shedding returned. right? So in the last 8 years, it's been roughly 7 years and 9 months since we've had, well, since we lost Cabras 3. We weren't load shedding with Cabras 3 and 4 even before that. So that's why, you know, the frustration of all of us is until the last 3 months, we didn't have load shedding, right? Even when we lost Cabras 80 megawatts 7 years ago, we still didn't shed load until the last 90 days, when the cascading effect of losing 80 megawatts 24/7, the pressure on the remaining generation, the loss of reserve, you couldn't take them down to be fixed like you normally would for a month, weeks, 2-3 months, some of the big base loads, and that created pressure on.
The other thing that's not being
Understood.
understood here is that right around 2015 or so, we were making the decision to avoid the millions of fines from US EPA. That's why we decided that the combined cycle was the best, put good money into new machines and save money and pay for the machine itself. That's 2016, no? So we did have a contract which was going to come on the line in 2022. So even though we were short 40 than the original reserve, we were going to write as much as possible in, because saving again costs, and plus putting machines that you're not going to use once Okudu comes on the line. And let's not forget, there's been a lot of pressure on renewables. Even back then, put in more renewables, don't put in any new capacity in conventional unit. That's why we had to go out on a technology neutral bid, and no renewable came out to bid. The combined cycle did. So again, all of those are drivers towards, you know, the shortage that we are today. No excuses, but at least, you know, we just want to lay it out as to how this all happened. But again, we can fix it. I just need help, no? I need Bill 201 pass. I need help with temporary power so that we don't get protested on that again. And let me get to work and put these machines in place. But you can't handcuff me and expect me to work, no? And which is kind of like, I mean, our councils can say we've been trying every which way to get this done. But I might as well say for the record that, hey, if they don't help, then believe me, I mean, at some point, you know, the machines are going to end up, we're not, by May, we don't have enough. The demand that's here is going to, those numbers are going to start screaming. No?
Well, but John, I wouldn't minimize, things occur beyond anyone's control, right? But the real test of management is when you have to deal with things that occur to you beyond your control, right? And when we lost Cabras 3 and 4, we dealt with it. We kept the lights on, right? It's only been in the last 90 days that load shedding has emerged, and now we're learning that on average, people were not able to get power for on average 22 minutes a day. And of the 91 days in this load shedding period, there were 39 days of load shedding, and there were 52 days in which no circuit was load shed. That's about 55% of the days of the last 3 months, there was no load shed.
And again, load shedding is only in the peak period of the day.
Only at peak, not during the day.
Daytime, no, schools are functioning, everything are functioning, economy is functioning. When everybody goes home at night, that's when it impacts, because that's when everything comes.
Demand goes up.
Yep. Okay. So that's it, Mr. Chair, unless there's any questions.
Ready to move?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Miguel, you're up.
Thanks, John. Thank you. Very good.
So,
no, I just need that. Because, you know, force the black. Average in the last 90 days, average. Inability for us to serve.
ready? Right.
Okay.
Are you guys ready?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The issues for decision for GWA tonight begin with Resolution 03, FY 2024.
Go ahead.
And this is seeking approval for additional funding for the Hagatnya Main Sewage Pump Station Rehabilitation and Redundant Force Main project. As I explained in the work session, the original scope of this was for a redundant force main, and the concept was laid out when we proceeded with the design. With the first deliverable, the estimated costs to put in 2 directionally drilled force mains, the price had increased dramatically between the range of 17.7 million and 20.6 million for a single force main. So in order to keep the costs within reason for what we needed to do to satisfy the requirements for this project with US EPA, we pivoted our design to include a temporary bypass surface mounted over the causeway, and to take the old one out of service and then rehabilitate it. Keeping, of course, the infrastructure in place if we needed a temporary bypass to put that in again. So in addition to that, in anticipation of the consent decree, we are seeking additional funding so that we can take care of the pump station rehabilitation for this critical pump station, which is a Tier 1 pump station and requires our urgent action once the consent decree is signed. So the additional cost we're seeking is $695,000, $350,000 of which is the design allowance for the pump station assessment. It could turn out to be less, but that's our estimate at this point. And then a 20% contingency for a total estimated funding authorization of $1.63 million. This will be completed, we anticipate, by September of 2024, and it will be grant funded, US EPA grant funded.
Is there a motion to approve GWA resolution 03 FY 2024?
Second. Second by Commissioner Chalco. Any further discussion?
Just a quick question. Is this,
Sure, go ahead.
This is just a regular repair we do? Is this a specific project on the first consent decree?
This is not a
Consent decree related expenditure?
this is not a court order related
Yeah,
project.
it's just operational need, right?
The force main rehabilitation is an operational need. The pump station rehab is a requirement of the, actually, we already had started this force main rehabilitation project, but the consent decree also requires force main assessments and actions, but this is not one of the specific ones. The pump station was called out specifically in the new consent decree.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Any further discussion? Nope. No? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries with 5 votes. Next one, Miguel.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The next resolution is 04 FY 2024. Similar project. This is for the Fujita Sewage Pump Station Rehab and Redundant Force Main Design Project. As you know, this Fujita Pump Station serves our critical tourism sector. And so the project involved the rehabilitation of the force main that takes the wastewater from the 2-month sub-basin out to the Route 16 pump station, which then pushes it all the way to the Northern District wastewater treatment plant. Again, because of the consent decree, there is an additional assessment work that needs to be done, and also the rehabilitation of the pump station. Again, this is a top-tier priority project for the consent decree, and so we're seeking additional funding to add those elements onto the original design contract, which was at $930,000. We're seeking an additional $670,000 for the pump station assessment and design, and additional assessment services, plus a 15% contingency. So the total contract amount will be $1.6 million, with the contingency that would put the total authorized funding at $1.84 million. And this is, again, also EPA grant funded.
Commissioner Santos.
Motion to approve resolution 04 FY 2024.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Sanchez. Any further discussion? No? All those in favor of the resolution signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Nay. Motion carries. 5 unanimous, 5 votes. Next one.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Next resolution is 05 FY 2024, and this is seeking the approval of additional funding for the Jigo Sewer Pump Station Flood Mitigation and Facility Rehab Project. As explained in the work session, we're seeking some additional funding to handle a change order for cleaning that was required after Typhoon Mawar, and then also an additional change order for some safety improvements that were required and replacement of instrumentation that was damaged during the flooding. So the original contract amount with previously approved change orders is at 1.1 million. We're seeking additional funding in the amount of 84,000 roughly for the two change orders that I mentioned, and this would bring the total total cost of 1.11 plus 84,000 would make it 1.95 million for the potential total contract amount. This is bond funded, and we do anticipate that the long lead item here is just getting the instrumentation in. So once that comes in, it'll be an additional 2 months to complete the project.
Motion to approve resolution 04-FY 2024.
05.
Sorry.
I'll second that one too.
Okay, who's second? Commissioner Martinez?
Okay.
Okay. Any further discussion? None? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carries with 5 aye votes. The last one, I think, Miguel.
Last one is resolution 06 FY 2024, and this is regarding an increase in funding for construction management services for our ongoing court order projects for the Santa Rosa, Sanifa, and Santa Rita tanks. As I mentioned there in the work session, there are essentially three components of the additional scope that we're seeking to additional funding for. The first is due to a contractor's delay in construction of the Santa Rosa Reservoir booster pump station and similarly the station and control building at the Sanifa Reservoir, and then some site work. So this has extended the contractor's schedule out to May of 2024, which means we have additional CM services that are going to be required for that. But because it is a contractor's delay, we are seeking special damages from the contractor as opposed to liquidated damages, but special damages specifically to pay for the CM services on this. The second component is for engineering consultation support and CM constructability reviews for work that needs to be done at the Santa Rita site resulting from the landslides there. And so that is additional work that we need done until we complete that project. And then the third component is for CM services for Santa Rosa #1 and Sanifa #1, the steel tank repairs. This is optional. We're looking at other avenues to see if we can do it, but we want to, because it's a court-ordered project, we want to build in this additional scope in the event that we need it. So all of these three items will result in a total not to exceed additional funding request of about 1.1 million, and bring the total authorized funding to 7.7 million. We anticipate that all of this work will be completed by January of 2025, and this is going to be funded by bond funds and also for funds that are recovered as special damages from the contractor.
Motion to approve Commissioner Martinez. Commissioner Santos, second. Any further discussion? None? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carries with 5 aye votes. And Miguel, where are we on our agenda?
Well, I could go, I have no changes to the management report. I don't think we have any changes to the financial report, so we can go to executive session.
Okay. Motion to rise up and move into executive session?
So move, Mr. Chair.
So moved. Second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay. Thank you. We're back in open session, Commissioners. There is a resolution before us.
There's a
A
There's a ratification, a motion to approve
A ratification.
ratification number 01 FY 2024 relative to the ratification of a GWA as a class member in the proposed 3M and DuPont Water Provider Settlement.
Is that the motion you're making, Commissioner
Yes.
Seki? Is there a second? Second, Commissioner Chacon. No further discussion? No, okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries with 5 aye votes.
Motion
Uh,
to
it-
adjourn, Mr. Chair.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Thank you.
Thank you, council.